Hey everyone, today we're going to be reviewing the Dogtra Edge. If you have a multiple dog household, this is going to be a great collar for you. In our other videos, we've definitely talked through a lot of other e-collars that we like from Dogtra, the 1900S, the 280C, and the ARC. This is a perfect collar for you if you have 3 or 4 dogs, so we're going to get into the specs of this collar. So as I previously mentioned, this is a great collar for 3 or 4 dogs. Typically, if you have 1 to 2 dogs, we recommend our Dogtra ARC, which you could definitely check out the link below our video, and you could look into the specs of that. Now, the Dogtra Edge, as you can see, it's a big old box that it comes in with an awesome case. So the case is pretty trusty. You can carry it around. Inside here, we have the remote, which is handheld. So it has 4 different buttons on here. With these buttons, they could do a couple of different functions, which are listed up here at the top. So the N is NIC, the C is continuous correction, the P is pager, and the L is light. So when we're going through this, we're going to go through what each of those does with the buttons, and then it comes with the black collar. So this collar itself comes with only 1 remote and 1 receiver. With that, you do need to buy the additional collar, so that's something to keep in mind. It doesn't come with all of them. So obviously first we have to put the antenna on. So you basically just screw it on the top. I have fidgety fingers. We'll see how that goes. Perfect. Handheld, which is awesome. On the back, you could see there is a blue button. This is the on button. So I'm going to hold it. And right there, you could see this turns on. It'll show it's on P, which is pager, and then if you switch it, it's now on correction, which is the not NIC correction, continuous, and then N, you could see it says N on here, which is the NIC correction. The difference between the two, the continuous, if you are correcting yourself on continuous, it is a hold of a correction, whereas the NIC, it's a slight tap. We often recommend to use the continuous because of the fact that most dogs don't feel the NIC. There's also a light toggle as well. So I do need to turn on the receiver for that, which there is also a blue button. So I'm going to hold this down and I will click the black. There you go. It lights up really nice, which is perfect if you're using it in the dark and you can't see your dogs. You have no idea where they are. You could select the different buttons when it's on light and find where they are. All right, so as you can see as well, there's another little hidden dial back here. This dial specifically adjusts the number between 1 and 127. So if I shift it, it's not too sensitive. So it honestly takes a lot to move it all the way to 127, which is really good because you don't want to all of a sudden jump from 1 to 127. I will say the downside of this collar is you will need to shift between page and correction if you do use the page function. So for us, we typically recommend using the page function to call our dogs to us. So it's like a pager, you call them, they come to you. If you page your dog and they don't come, you then will need to shift back to the correction and then correct them and then go back to the pager. So that's a pretty big downside, I would say, of this collar. Other than that, it's pretty simple to use with the levels and corrections between the dogs. So obviously we love Dogtra for a lot of reasons. They have awesome customer support. Also, this collar is waterproof and has a 1-mile range, which is a lot farther than the ones that we previously, reviewed. The ARC is 3/4 mile range. I always typically say cut that in half. So this is the furthest one I've reviewed so far. Let's talk about battery and charging. So there is a charger that comes with it. As you can see, I connected it to the back of the remote and then also the back of the receiver. We'll get into it a bit later with the additional collars. You could basically have all of them plugged in to one outlet, which is really, really awesome. And it has a 2-hour power charge where it charges completely in 2 hours. This collar also comes with 2 selector dials. So of course the standard one that's on here right now is this back one, and it goes from levels 1 to 127. So that's something to keep in mind. Lots of levels to choose from. If you have a dog that is, a 40, and then a 20, and then a 10. One suggestion that we often have is to put on their other dial that comes with it. This is levels 0 to 8. So the nice thing about this is you put it right on, and you will be able to put one dog at a 1, one dog at a 2, one dog at a 4. So then you don't need to go through the struggle of searching for 40, searching for 20, and it's a lot harder to jump between 1 and 127 levels versus 0 and 8. The other thing to keep in mind to do that is you do need a flathead screwdriver to, put this part on. So it's not necessarily the easiest thing to assemble, deassemble, assemble, deassemble. Once you select this on here, I would probably keep it on there for some time. All right, so let's get into the additional collars. So as you can see, this is a fun blue collar. There's a lot of options on their website, but we definitely recommend aligning it with the colors that are on the buttons. So, this goes up to 4 dogs. So you can get 3 additional collars, orange, green, and blue if you want to do those colors. So to turn it on and off, it also has the same button as the other. You would then turn it on, and then same thing with the blue on the back, which it's already on. I'm going to check the pager function really quick, and it's vibrating right now, which is awesome. I do want to talk a little bit about pairing. So keep in mind with pairing this collar, it could get a little bit complicated. So the way you would do it is you would first make sure that it is on the correction toggle. You then are going to put it to 0. Also, these are already paired, so I'm not going to mess it up and unpair it. I'm just going to talk through the process of doing so. Once it is like that, you need to make sure that this receiver is turned off. So I am going to turn it off right now, just because I'm pretending to pair it. When it is off, you then are going to hold the on and off button on the receiver for 4 seconds. So you'd hold it. I'm going to pretend 1, 2, 3, 4. You then will see a light that is rapidly blinking. And then at the same time, I would then hold the blue that pairs with the blue for 4 seconds as well. And then you should be all paired up. What I would recommend and just double check is move it back to the pager function and then hit the pager. And if it vibrates, you're good to go. Keep in mind, you only have to do this one time. So as I mentioned, the charger plugs into all of the receivers. So right now I have, you can see, it's literally like a snake of chargers. The green plugged in, the black plugged in, and the blue plugged in, and the remote, which is really, really awesome. Turn it off when you're charging it, plug it in, and then honestly, all you need is 2 hours. All right, let's talk extenders. So a really, really awesome thing about this collar, it comes with little bumpers. You can see it's the tiny little bumper that you would then put on the collar to extend the length of the contact points. So we love extenders. We use them a lot for long-haired dogs or dogs that have really scruffy hair where they have a hard time getting good contact. Good contact is essential when using an e-collar. Otherwise, your dog's not going to respond to you, right? So I want to show you, of course, having a tool is a good idea. These aren't that tight right now, so I'm going to show you how to install it. So these are the standard ones right here. I'm going to cover this so you can see. That would come with, an arc or whatever. This one is the one with the extender on it. So it adds a 1/4 of an inch. So you can see it adds a little bit of extra space where you could get better contact with your dog. The way you install it is you unscrew this contact point, which now you could see it's an open little part here. And then you would then put the screw into the bumper like that. And then you would screw it right on, just like that. And honestly, I feel like these are the most easy extenders I ever put on, and it'll definitely get better contact on your dog, which ensures a better trained dog. We also have extenders that we recommend. We have reviewed the long-haired ultra wingtip comfort pad. Definitely check out the link below the video, and that's also a good fitting extender point for this as well. So as you can see, we have the dogs here on the collars. There's Callie and Indy. Both are labs, and then we have Anakin also following along with Lenny too. So all 3 dogs have the collar on. Anakin is on black, Indy is on blue, and Callie is on green. All of these dogs are proficiently trained, so they've been off leash many, many times, so we trust them in an open field. So it's important to keep in mind when training with your dog off leash, you want to make sure you 100% trust them. So with that, if you do not trust them, of course, there's a lot of work to be done before getting there. So lots of proofing of commands around distractions. Definitely check out our proofing video. You want to make sure that your dog will be responsive in any situation that comes up. Having the Dogtra Edge on, of course, gives you that line of communication where they're so much more responsive and they know to listen because you have distance, across the board when they're farther away from you by utilizing the buttons on the remote. Of course, all these pups did amazing today. We absolutely love e-collar training because it gives dogs so much more freedom to have fun during training. I do want to quickly talk about one of the biggest downfalls of the collar, which is price. Just for the remote and the initial black receiver, that itself is around $400 lowest. On top of that, each additional collar can be anywhere between $160 and $175. However, I would assume if you have a 4-dog house, money can't be that too big of an issue. So making this investment for a waterproof, far-range collar that can get your dogs off leash and happy, to me, is an awesome investment. Awesome work today, guys. Definitely check out the link below our video to read more about the Dogtra Edge, and if you want to go on the website and purchase one yourself.